So we wait for 1 or 2 minutes for the other student to join this Zoom meeting, right? Today we will move to the next chapter about the insurance contract. What is the insurance contract? The insurance contract is a contract signed between the insurers and the insurers. The insurance contract is a contract, usually is in the standard written form contracts signed between the insurers and the insurers, and determining the claims which the insurer is legally required to pay. And the insurer also have to pay the premium to the insurers. The insurance contract has a very specific characteristics in comparison with the other economic contracts. For the other economic contracts, whenever the contract is signed on the conditions and the contract itself is valid. But for the insurance contracts, even if the insurance contract is signed, the insurers forget or intend to forget to pay the premium to the insurers. So the signed insurance contract will become invalid. So different from the other economic contracts. Even if the insurance contract has been already signed, if the insurers forget or intend to forget to pay the premium to the insurers, the insurance contract will become invalid. If and the signed insurance contracts become invalid, the insurers do not have to pay the compensation money to the insurers. So when the insurers do not pay the insurance premium to the insurers, the insurance contract will become invalid, and the insurers will refuse to pay the indemnifications amount or compensation amount to the insurers. Even the total, the loss occurred by the insurance, the insurance companies or the insurers will refuse to pay the indemnifications. The insurance contracts have some main parts. The first one is declarations. The second one is definitions. The third one is insurance agreement. The fourth one, the fourth one is exclusions. The fifth one is conditions, and the last one is miscellaneous provisions. So what is the declarations? The declaration as a statement that provide the information about the particular property or the particular activities to be insured by the insurers. The information in the declaration sections is used for underwriting and rating purposes and for identifications of the property or activity insured. The declaration on the first page of the policies or on the policy inserted. For example, in the property insurance, the declarations contain the identification of the insurers. For example, the name of the name of the insurers or the name of the insurers, the locations, even the bank account, the address, the official address of the insurers, the location of the property, the period of the protections, the amount of insurance or the premium. What is the amount of insurance? And in abbreviation, we call it amount of insurance. Số tiền bảo hiểm ạ. Số tiền bảo hiểm đúng không ạ? The amount of insurance is the amount of money which the insurers want to buy the insurance for the property or for the activity. The amount of insurance is totally different from the value of the insurance values. The insurance value is the total value of the property or the total value of the house, which the insurers insures at the insurance company. But the amount of insurance is is the exact number which the insurers want to buy insurance at the insurance company and want to pay premiums based on this number. So if the amount of insurance is not equal to the insurance values, then the premium paid by the insurers will be higher or smaller in comparison with the premiums calculated on the insurance value. And based on according to Vietnamese insurance laws, the insurance amounts must be smaller or equal to the insurance values. But according to the other countries' insurance values, the insurance amount can be bigger than the insurance values. In life insurance, the first page contains the insurer's name, age, premium amount, issuing date, policy numbers, and the other necessary information relating to the insurer's persons. So the declaration are the statement providing the information about the particular property or activity to be insured. The next part of the insurance contract is the definitions. What is the definitions? The definition is the keywords or the phrases having the quotation marks or are in the boldface or in the italic face type. For example, the insurer is usually referred to as a we or our or us. The insured person or the insured party is referred to as you or yours. The insurer is usually called we or our or us because they compile or they write the standard insurance contracts, and using the insurance the insurance company using the standard insurance contracts to negotiate the condition or the articles with the insurers. Because if the two party, the insurer and the insurance company, do not use the standard forms of the insurance contracts. It takes time and money to negotiate and to combine and to write the whole insurance contracts, which can be 70 or 80 pages long. So usually the insurance company and the insurers use the standard form of the insurance contracts written by the insurance company, and then they negotiate each conditions and article in the standard form of the insurance contracts, so they can add up to cross down any paragraph or any words or any sentence in the standard form of the insurance contracts written by the insurance company. That's why in the insurance contract, usually the insurers who write the standard form of insurance contracts called we, our, or us, and the insurer is usually called the you or your. Insuring agreement. The insuring agreement summarize the major promises of the insurers. The promises of the insurers is that the insurers pay losses from covered perils, provide loss prevention service, defend the insurers in a liability lawsuits. So the most important liability of the insurers after receiving the premium from the insurers is that they have to pay the indemnification to the loss caused by the insured risk. We have the two forms of insuring agreement in the property insurance. The first one is named peril policies. Only those perils specifically names in the policies are covered. So for the named peril policies, the insurance company will named and write on the perils which cause the loss, and the loss will be paid by them. But for the own risk policies, for the own risk policy or for the own risk insurance policies, the insurance company do not list or name the insured risk. They do it differently. They will name the excluded risk. So they say that for the own policy or for the own risk policies, all the losses are covered except the loss caused by the excluded risk. So the premium paid in the own risk policies certainly are bigger than the premium in the named perils policies, because the risk cover in the own risk policy is larger, much larger than the risk cover in the named perils policies. So if you are the insurers, which type of policies you will choose? The named perils policy or the own risk policies? Are you here? Are you a student?
Yes. Yes.
So if you are the insurers company or the insured persons, which type of policies, which type of insurance policy will you choose? The named peril policy with with the lower premium, or the on-risk policies with a larger scale of indemnifications and bigger premium?
I think it depends.
Yes.
It depends on the financial capability of the company, and also depends on the expected risk that the expected perils that can happen. For example, if during the marine transportation, if the route is expected, if that route is particularly more prone to perils, then I would buy the open policy. But if that route is quite safe, then I think a named policy would be better.
Yes, and besides the financial situations of the insurers, we have to care about the risk which can be happen during the period of insurance, right? For example, yes. for the goods carried by the seas, if the good is not likely to be damaged during the voyage, for example, the normal goods or the manufactured goods, you can buy the name perils policies. But for the food, or for the fruit like bananas, for example, or for the frozen foods, you can choose the on-risk policy because it is easier to be damaged during the voyage, right? In reality, the on-risk policy is preferable to the named perils policies, as the protection is broader and there are fewer gaps in coverage. The coverage of the insurance company in the on-risk policies is much bigger than the named peril policies, but it will lead to the larger coverage will lead to the higher premium. So the insurance companies have to pay much more money for the premium to the insurance companies. And in order to deny or to refuse the payment of the compensation, the insurers must prove that the loss is excluded. While for the on-risk policies, in order to refuse the payment of in order to refuse the compensations, the insurers must prove that the loss is excluded. But in the named peril policies, the insurers, that means us, the insurers must show that the loss was caused by a risk, insured risk, or a named perils. So the liability of giving proof that the loss will be indemnified or not depends on each type of policies. For the on-risk policies, because the premium is higher, so the liability of proving whether the loss is indemnified or not belongs to the insurers. But for the named perils policies with a lower premium, the liability of proving whether the loss is indemnified or not belong to the insurers. So, money and price is valuable, right? If you pay more, you will have less liability, and you will be indemnified more. If you pay less, you will have more liability, and you will be indemnified less. The next part of the insurance contract is the exclusions. We have the three major types of exclusions. The first one is excluded perils. The contract may exclude certain perils or causes of loss. For example, in a homeowner policies, flood, earth movement, nuclear radiations, radioactive contaminations are certainly excluded. So we have three types of exclusions in the insurance contracts. The nuclear radiations and the radioactive contaminations are excluded in all the insurance contracts issued by all the insurance companies all over the world, because when the insurance companies put the nuclear radiations and the radioactive contaminations in the insured risk, they will go bankrupt if the risk really happens. The cost paid for the effect of the nuclear radiations or the radioactive contaminations is such a huge money, and the process of indemnifications may take even 30 years to finish. For example, for the case of Chernobyl in Ukraine, the Chernobyl radioactive the explosion in the Chernobyl electricity factories, and it cost nearly the third. It's called the third generations to have the cancers, and many insurance companies in Ukraine have to pay the indemnifications money for nearly 30 years, and they almost go bankrupt. So the Chernobyl case caused all the insurance in the world put the nuclear radiations and the radioactive contaminations in the excluded risk. They avoid going bankrupt. So in the Chernobyl case is the power plant or the electricity plant, the atomic electricity plant explosions in 1986, and until now even the people of the fourth generation still have cancers. The blood cancers or the others cancers. The second type of exclusion is the excluded losses. The excluded losses are the certain type of losses may be excluded in the insurance contracts. For example, the failure of the insurers to protect the property from further damage after a loss occurs. So if you buy, or if you already bought the insurance package, you still have to care about your property. And for example, your property or your house causes fire, you have to call the police. You have to inform the insurance companies immediately, and you have to protect the unburned property from the fire. You do not, you cannot stand and wait and see. If the insurance company proves that you do nothing to protect the unburned property, and you do nothing to prevent the serious damage of the fire, they will refuse the indemnifications. The last type of exclusion is the excluded property. The contract may exclude or place the limitation on the coverage of certain property. For example, in the homeowner policies, certain property are excluded. For example, cars, land, animal, and birds and fish. So the pet, white, because the cars, the planes are insured in the automobile insurance contract. The animal, the birds, the fish, for example, the dog and the cats are insured in the pet insurance contracts. So all of them are excluded in the house policies, the house insurance policy, or in other words, we call it the homeowners policies. What is the reason for the exclusions? There are three main There are 6 main reasons for the exclusions in the insurance contracts. The exclusion in Vietnamese is right to. The first reason for the exclusion in the insurance contract is that certain perils can be considered uninsurable by the insurers. For example, a given peril may depart substantially from the ideal requirement of an insurable risk. For example, inherent vice. What is the inherent vice? Nội tỳ. The inherent vice is a destruction or the damage of the property without any tangible external forces. For example, the tendency of the fruit to root and the tendency of the diamond to crack is not insured. So the inherent vice is the damage of the properties because of its natures. The insurance company would refuse to pay the loss for the loss caused by the inherent vice. The second reason for the exclusion is the presence of extraordinary hazard. What is a hazard? The hazard is a condition increasing the chance of loss or severity of the loss. Because of an extraordinary increase in hazard, a loss may be excluded. For example, the premium for liability insurance under the personal auto policies is based on the assumptions that the car is used for personal and recreational use and not a taxi. So if the car is used for taxis, the insurance premium will be much higher because using as a taxi, the car is used almost a day, and the car will be on the road every day in order to take advantage of the money put invested in the car. For example, in the case of Vietnamese taxis, all taxis will have 2 drivers. All drivers will use a taxis in the day, and another drivers use the taxis in the night. So for the whole day, 24 hours per day, the cars will be useful, and no extra hours will be wasted. But for the homeowner cars, we use maybe twice or even or 4 or 5 or twice or 4 times or 6 times at most for a day, right? For example, we I own a car and I drive my cars to the foreign trade universities. And after working time, I will drive my car to my house. So a day, I will use my car only 2 times. And my car is out the road for nearly 2 hours per day. But for the taxis, the taxis will be available on the road and on the streets nearly the whole day. The next reason for exclusion is the moral hazard problems. Certain property is excluded because of moral hazard or difficulty in determining and measuring the amounts of loss. For example, the homeowners insurance policies drafted by the insurance service office limit the coverage of money to $200. If unlimited amounts of money will be covered, fraudulent claims will certainly increase. The large adjustment problems in determining the exact amount of the loss would also increase. The next reason for the exclusion is attitudinal or the moral hazard problem. What is the attitudinal hazard? The attitudinal hazard is a carelessness or the indifference to a loss, which increase the frequencies or severity of the loss. For example, why do I have to care about my property? Because I have already bought the insurance. The insurer will pay indemnification for me, so I do not have to care about my property. This is the attitudinal hazard. The exclusion forces individuals to bear the losses that result from their own carelessness. So if the insurance company proves that you are careless to your insurer's property, they will refuse indemnifications. The last reason for the exclusion is the coverage not needed by typical insurers. For example, most homes owners do not own the private planes. So to cover the aircraft as a personal properties under a home's owner policies would be grossly unfair to the most of the insurers who do not own planes, because the premium will be substantially higher. There is rarely person who own the private planes, so the homeowner policy will exclude the aircraft or the planes from the insurance policies or insurance contracts in order to reduce the premiums. The next part of the insurance contract is the conditions. The conditions are the provision in the policy that qualifies or place the limitations on the insurer's promise to perform. In effect, the condition sections imposes the certain duties on the insurers. So the conditions mean the duty or the liability which the insurers have to satisfy or to meet. If the policy conditions are not met, the insurers will refuse to pay the indemnification to the insurers. Common insurance policy conditions include notifying or informing the insurer if a loss happened, protecting the property after the loss, preparing an inventory of the damaged personal property, and cooperating with the insurers in the event of a liability suit. So this is a liability of the insurers in order to get the compensation from the insurance company. The miscellaneous provisions. In property and casualty insurance, the miscellaneous provision include the cancellations, subrogations, requirement if a loss occurs, the assignments of the policies, and other insurance provisions. In life and health insurance, the typical miscellaneous provision include the grace period, which is the period, the enlarged period, the reinstatement of a lapsed policies, or the misstatement of the age. So we move to the next part in order to make clear about the basic part or the important part of the insurance contracts. So first of all, we will make clear about the definition of the insurers. What is the insurers? The insurer is the insurance the person or people for whom the protection is provided. An insurance contract must identify the person or the parties or the people who are insured under the policies. The meaning of the insurers can be grouped into the following categories: the name insurers, the first name insurers, the other insurers, and the additional insurers. What is the name insurers? The name insurers is persons or the party name on the declaration page of the policies. The name insurers can be one or more people or parties. For example, in the homeowner policies, the name insurers include the person named in the declaration page and his spouse or his husband or his wife or her husband, if she is a resident in the same house. The words you and your refer to the name insurers.